After 15 years as a web designer, having done websites for companies like Adidas, Red Bull, Nike and the Olympics, and then coaching close to 100 freelance web designers in the last 4 years, here are 4 advanced layout tips that took me a while to understand and that can definitely take your web design layouts to the next level. Let's go! Hello my friend, if you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Adrian Somoza, former lead designer at MediaMonks, and I focus on helping freelance web designers grow their businesses to be financially peaceful and creatively challenging. I partnered with Framer to bring you this video. You can try it out for free using the link in the description, and if you want to go pro, you can use my coupon code BONT1 for a free month. And I want to say this, if you clicked on this video hoping to hone your skills in order to finally charge more as a freelance web designer, then you got your priorities wrong, my friend. So if that's you, then I highly recommend that you download my 6-figure web design business plan PDF in the link below, or comment plan below and I'll share the link with you. It will help you focus on the right things in order to scale your business. All right, now let's get into the 4 tips. So number 1 is that hierarchy is contextual. What do I mean by that? Well, that it's not only about the size, it's also about the context. Sometimes making something bigger can reduce the hierarchy and something smaller can increase the hierarchy. So let me show you with one example. We tend to associate increasing the size of something as giving it more hierarchy, and usually that is the case, but there's an exception to those rules. So let me explain with an example. I made this website around 5 years ago. Now at the time I was doing 16 pixels all the time, like as a minimum size, I was doing 16 pixels. And I created this website where the title kind of overlaps the image. Now, if I had to redesign this website today, I would do some things a bit different. But first, let me show you what I mean with contextual hierarchy. So here, I took the same design that you see here. I just changed the size of the small text. So I just increased all the small sizes to 24 pixels instead of 16 as you saw it here. Look at the difference, guys. Like, this is incredible how different it is, the hierarchy that you see here of this title versus here. Why? Because the relative hierarchy between the small size and the big size changed. The proportion between the big size and the small size changed. So proportion is what really determines hierarchy. And in context, right? Something is big or small relative to what you compare it to, right? So in this case, comparing this title with this bigger, smaller text makes it less contrasting than here. And of course, this is much more beautiful. The other thing that's happening here is that there's less white space. And that's what I would correct from this design that I did a while back with how I would do it now. So this is the website I did back then, and this is a little bit of a difference between how I would do it today. So you can see the difference here, right? And here. It's a subtle difference, but what I'm doing is I'm adding white space around it. It seems like I'm shrinking the size of the text, which is true, but I'm also adding white space around it as a consequence. See, here, for example, we don't have any white space and to the right of the text, and here we have a lot of white space to the right of the text. And that creates a lot of visual weight on the elements that are in the page. So I wasn't really aware of this, as you can see on this iteration, and I'm realizing that now. And so if I would redesign this, I would probably shrink the size of the text. I'm going for the size that in this context of this design makes the title shine more and have more weight on the page. So that's number 1. Now, number 2 is that designers should control the grid and not the other way around. Let me explain, right? In this case, I did a version with very strict rules to show you what I mean. So basically, the size of the title now is gridded. So you can see it goes from one column to a very specific column. the size of the images are gridded and they are all within this margin that we see here. And that's where everything is sitting now. So if I turn this off, you would see how everything is within a margin, within the columns, everything is gridded. And the other thing I did is I centered this text, right? I clicked these two buttons so that the button is perfectly centered within this image. Now, this is an example of how a grid can control the designer's decisions versus the designer being the one who controls the results, right? And so what I would recommend you to do, guys, is basically this again, where you can see that there are some things that are related to the grid, but not everything exactly and perfectly matches the grid. This one, for example, is not caged. Anecdotally, to align it to the center here of this edge, and then I am just placing it wherever I feel, it best aligns, and creates this invisible edge here in the middle of the title. So it points from the title to the CTA. So that was my goal and intention here. So I'm not really using the grid as much. It's not that I'm just giving, for example, the CTA a specific size based on the grid. No, I thought, what's a good padding between the text and the shape of the CTA, and that's the size that I decided to give it. And just to give you one more example, here I didn't even use a grid. So for example, I do have here a 40 pixel margin, and actually if we have to correct some things here. And then inside here, I also have a 40 pixel margin. So you can see how I'm structuring everything here with this margin, right? So the outer margin for the whole navigation and most of the things. And I'm structuring inside this half of the page with another margin inside the half of the page or the module. And then for this title is basically in the middle of this module, okay? So no grid. So you could also go gridless and create stunning visuals with it. So basically nowadays what I do is I design with a grid turned off, and once I like the overall structure, I use a lot margins and, for example, dividing the page into half or into thirds, right? Very general rules. And then I go into details by turning on the grid and adjusting smaller things here and there. Like for example, I would lay out this and then I would turn on the grid and adjust the small things here and there, like I did basically with the margin, right? I thought about using the margin, but evidently I hadn't used it properly. So when I put the margin, I realized that, and I just adjusted those small things here and there, but overall, the design had structure already. Why? Because I'm mostly spacing things by margins and padding. So for example, here, the CTA, I had done this, shift and the arrows, and I kind of create that margin in that way. That's basically how I create margins and how I structure things initially, to kind of eyeball it and see how it looks first, and then I can give it more structure with a grid or with margins or with things like that. Especially, a grid is very useful when you're going, when you're scrolling, right? So when you're creating a scroll, then of course you need a grid to structure things and help you create power lines. But even then, right, I will have still, power lines that will help me structure the page. So I'm not going to be using a huge ton of edges in power lines all over the place. Here, this module goes from the margin here to this power line that you can see that goes throughout the page. So even then, I will still use very seldom all the edges of all the columns to create the modules of the page. Now remember, knowing these advanced skills is one thing, but knowing how to monetize them is a whole different story. I've helped clients charge 10K plus per website without focusing on these design skills, okay? So if your goal is to charge more for your work, then you're in the right place, and I want to encourage you to grab my free 6-figure web design business plan PDF by commenting plan below or checking the link in the description. Next, the length of the title affects hierarchy too. So what I mean by that is sometimes what we usually do is we set the type hierarchies or the type systems based on the size, and then we start working on each module, right? And the problem with that is that sometimes the length of the text is what actually determines the hierarchy that we need. So for example, if I have to include all this information in a title, I will probably do a subtitle instead. So for example, I would do this. I would create a subtitle here. Say what I noticed when no one was watching. And then here I would say observations. Or actually I could even do a little paragraph here. So for example, something like this. Why? Because that's too long for a title. And so hierarchy is also about the size of the text or the length of the text. So what I recommend is 1 to 3 words ideally for a title like this, right? Especially the H1. And then maybe at the most I would do 5 words. That would be my maximum recommended, especially for H1, so that you don't end up with something like this that is like super noisy and very difficult to read. And so that you don't lose all that white space that you had around the composition when you originally did the decision of the size, right? Here you're losing a lot of white space. I like to think of white space as arrows that are pointing towards what I want to highlight, right? The more white space, the more arrows pointing towards what I want to highlight. Something like this, where if you go with something like this, then there's less arrows, less visual weight falling on the element that we want to highlight. All right, so that's number 3. Now, number 4 is that visual results matter more than rules. When you're starting out, you kind of rely on the rules, like for example, 1.5 for the line height, right? Or 50% line height size. Or 2 times the size for hierarchy contrast, or maybe 30 pixels as the minimum size for CTAs, and you're kind of doing like the typical CTA with that type of size, like probably this one's here. Now, what I started learning is that it's really important to develop the eye to place elements on the composition, and that's the difference between this design and this design. So in this design, I'm placing the elements in the composition following less rules, and I'm using rules only to order the main decisions that I made. So for example, here what I wanted to do is highlight the girl's picture and not the flower. So I overlaid the girl on top of the flower to achieve that. And then I created a composition where the CTA was kind of in the middle, and there's like this invisible edge that points from the title directly to the CTA and then to the eyes of the girl. Now here the CTA kind of gets lost, and I couldn't achieve the same effect of the edge between all of the elements that are important here, which is observations, the CTA, and the girl's eyes. So the other thing that happened here is I made sure that I clicked here on the 2 buttons to center the text perfectly within the button. And here what I did is I basically, if I show you here with this button, it wasn't perfectly centered. Why? Because the plus here, or this 3rd line, it has less visual weight than the previous 2. So I needed to kind of visually, optically adjust this so that it makes more sense visually and it looks more balanced. Here it does look unbalanced the way it is. So you would need to adjust this optically, not with a grid or with perfect rules, so that it looks good. The other thing I did here is I added the 1.5 rule that we typically know for line height. And here I did 1.2, and maybe I could even do 1.1. Why not? I think that even looks better to me. So optically adjusting things is very, very important. And it's always a step up when you understand how to visually adjust things. versus following rules and caging yourself, boxing yourself in decisions that don't really make sense visually, but they make sense on the logic level or on a math level. When I started out, I paid attention more to the math of my designs than to the visual results. Now I turned that around, and now I pay more attention to the visual results than the math or the rules. And those are the 4 tips. But remember, don't expect to reap pears if you plant apples. To get business results, you need business skills. I've prepared a PDF, right? It's free. It's my 6-figure web design business plan for you to prioritize the right things so that you can scale your business to 6 figures and beyond. I've helped clients do this, and you can do it too. So make sure to comment plan or click the link below to get it. That's it for today. If you learned something, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, my friend, let's bridge the gap 1 pixel at a time.